Hi, welcome to Talking Reds. Oh, what a terrible start. My first time as a host of Talking Reds. I'm all over.
Is that true? First time hosting Talking Reds?
It is, Josh.
You used to have the duo with Mo, didn't you?
So, Talking Mo.
Yeah. That was what it was.
No, it's a different show.
What was it called?
Talking Mo.
Neil had all kinds of stupid ideas about what that show should be called, like The Beautiful South. Just because which me and Mo both hated. Anyway, hi, welcome to Talking Reds. I've got Josh Sexton, John Gibbons, and because I'm here, they're making it about They said you've got to make it about transfer. So it's a sort of mini preview type of show for what we call the Transfer Gutter show we do on our tour player thing. Behind the paywall, it's worth the admission price alone. I think John would agree, Josh would agree.
The awards agree.
The awards speak for themselves.
We've won so many awards. I mean, although it's still January, so we're still waiting for our first award.
It'll come.
I hope we don't have to wait too long. Okay, let's. You all want to hear transfer shite, so we're going to start with the big one of the last few days, Josh. Kvaratskhelia. What's his first name?
Khvicha.
Yeah.
The K silent, isn't it? Khvicha.
Even his first name's hard. I've spent a year working out his last name. I think I've nailed it. Kvaratskhelia. If you say it quickly, you can cough. But his first name is Khvicha.
Khvicha. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I think it must be a KH thing in Georgia. It makes the K silent, but then it's not silent in the surname.
Kvaradona.
That's the easier one.
To Scouse fellas over the age of 60 from here on in. Kvaradona. Well, I mean, Liverpool have been linked to him, Josh, on and off for a while. And as fans, I think we've bought it only in the sense of, yeah, of course we'd want him. He's one of the most exciting players you could hope to be linked with. But you also think life doesn't get that good that we get to sign a player like that, quite frankly. But then the heavy-hitting journos, the lads we really respect, the Joyceys, the Ornsteinies, right? They came through with some stuff that said, although PSG very much consider themselves in the box seat for the signing of Kvaratskhelia, Liverpool remain an interested party. And the player has indicated, we know, because his manager has said it, Antonio Conte has said, the player wants to leave this window. So something's going to happen this window. Things are going to happen quickly. Can you believe that life could get so good as Liverpool to properly enter the fray here?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because I think to a degree, yes, I could believe that life could get that good. I mentioned on a sort of reaction show we did to when the rumour first emerged last week that, you know, it's opportunistic, but I think it shows the scale of the opportunism that Liverpool can operate with. I think we saw that with, you know, the likes of Luis Diaz, who's obviously been, you know, a revelation of the club since he signed, and there's, you know, a couple more signings down the years where it seemed like it sort of came a little bit out of nowhere, but then once Liverpool signed them, you were like, oh, well, this is the scale of the ambition that Liverpool can show now. And I think in previous windows or in previous times, I guess you'd have looked at it and thought, PSG are the ones with all the money. They're the ones who are, you know, ruling all of the French league. They're going far in the Champions League every season. They've got all these big hits in their team, and suddenly PSG don't quite have that. I hate to use the word, but aura about them now. Like, they don't have all those heavy hitters in the team. It seems they're a little bit more strapped for cash, whether that's just sort of financial rulings or whether they're just trying to cost cut a little bit more than in previous years. So it does feel like Liverpool, you know, even though the reports are saying that PSG are in the box seat, I think if you're any player around Europe looking at it right now, which team would you know, rather be joining a young Liverpool squad with a young up-and-coming manager who are top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League, or would you join the PSG team that's, you know, to everyone's accounts are faltering and not doing very well in the Champions League? I'm not sure where they are in Ligue 1, but I'm sure they've not been, you know, heavy hits in that for a couple of years now. So I'd be looking at that if I'm the player and thinking Liverpool seems like the attractive proposition there, and if Liverpool are the ones who come to the table with the money, then that's going to be the move that I go for.
Me too, Josh. Me too. Yes, I should have mentioned, actually, before I come to you, John, that this special Kvaratskhelia edition of Talking Red Stroke, the mini impromptu gutter, is brought to you by the good people at NordVPN. And John, you'll talk about them at length later in the show. But before we do that, because I'm a model pro, Josh referenced PSG and the dough. I don't quite understand why or why not that they don't have money to spend all of a sudden, but there has been reports. I'm looking at one I read on the Twitter now known as X by @Santi_J_FM, who said that PSG don't want to spend more than 45 mil euros on Kvaratskhelia. They're happy to give him a wedge, but they want to spend more than that. The price has been talked about. Napoli value him around 65 mil. I don't quite get a couple of things. Why is prices slipping in value from our perception of what megastars cost, like i.e. over 100 million, and why PSG don't have the dollar, or even if that's true?
I think PSG are trying to change the perception of themselves a little bit. Listen, they're not going to get him for 45 million euro or whatever. No. I think they'll get him for the price where Liverpool fans not unreasonably were going, well, I'm surprised we're not in at that price. I think they'll get him, certainly it looks like it's going to be around, close to half what he was being sort of touted for at various points over the last couple of years. But I think PSG have been bitten a bit by they tried to do like a sort of a poor man Galactico thing, didn't they? And people were going there, and I think it was they maybe don't want to see it as the place where you just go to earn loads of money. They want to build a proper team, and they want players to go there who are hungry and they want to win things. The Champions League record is generally poor. I think it's one final in the full lockdown season, and that's it really. And they generally go out in fairly spectacular fashion, around the sort of quarterfinals mark. So I think they're just trying to build something a little bit different, and the idea of come here if you're a big star and you'll get weighed in.
Is there a contradiction though? This is what I can't resolve. Yeah, cool. We're going to moneyball it and not be the flash guys we perceive to have been being. But then why'd you go for a world star and then say you don't want to play world star money? It feels contradictory.
Yeah, a little bit, but I think he is a star. Listen, he's a big name, literally.
Massive. None bigger.
But it's also a bit of an FSG signing, which is why I'll be a touch surprised if we don't make a late move, because he's that sort of age where he's ready to really sort of kick on really, and so he's done a lot in the game already. He's impressed a lot of people. He's won a championship at Napoli, and he's done well at international level as well in big tournaments. But he's still sort of quite a young guy really. So I think if you were signing him, you'd think, well actually his best years are to come, and we're getting those, which is why I would be maybe a little bit surprised if we continue to monitor him all the way to signing from PSG.
Yeah, there's a lot of monitoring going on. Monitoring leaves me nervous.
Now he's signed. We watched the hell out of that signing.
You don't want to be duped and lured into thinking we're in for something we're not. But as we've said, Josh, the people we respect in the media are not ruling Liverpool out. Others, cough Fabrizio Romano, are acting as though the deal to PSG is nearly done. But you somehow feel the Reds, it ticks a lot of Liverpool boxes, this, in a certain sense. The value, the potential value for money is a very, very big one. But there's one box which I can't quite get straight in my mind, although I can talk myself into it in a roundabout way, but maybe you can do better. He's left-sided. And we've got Gakpo's all but nailed down the place, whilst Diaz does bits in the middle, but Diaz had the place nailed down as well. Jota can do bits there. They can all do bits there apart from Mo Salah.
Yep.
Would Liverpool spunk, let's use the word advisedly, a big tranche of their transfer budget on a left-sided player?
So there's two ways I can sell this to you, Rob. So Sadio Mane, you remember him, don't you? He came in as a left-sided, predominantly left-sided player from Southampton. I think he'd done a little bit.
No, he came in as a right-sided, or we moved
right
left. Yeah.
Oh, was it the other way around? Was it right? Okay.
He's his first season at Liverpool and right side.
Yeah, that was what I thought it was. I thought he'd come from the left side at Southampton, gone to the right with Liverpool, and then gone back to the left eventually.
But off him, Josh. He was right.
but it still speaks to the point of it was a versatile player that Liverpool brought in, who we thought had sort of one broadly fixed position, and by the time he arrived at Liverpool, it turned out that he could basically play anywhere across the front three. And I think we've seen that with a couple of them. There's a couple of lads that you've referenced there who really can play anywhere across the front three. And I think he's done a little bit as like a 9, sort of 10, false 9-y kind of thing for Napoli at times this season as well. So I think he's a player who is well versed in that sort of versatility aspect of things. He's got that to his game, and it helps that he's both footed as well. We were looking at this again on the reaction show we recorded, which you can find on the Anfield Wrap app. Yeah, Transfermarkt's got him down as both footed, and I made sure that wasn't like a misnomer, and looked at a couple of other
he's a really
lads.
Interesting player. He gets more goals with one foot and more assists with the other.
Wow.
It's unicorn levels, isn't it?
Well, that would Does he get the goals with his right?
Left. Goals with his left, assists with his right.
No way. So they play him on the left as a non-inverted. Then he's effectively playing traditionally.
He's just coming across and thwacking it.
Well, the current wisdom is if you want to play a winger to score for you, you play him on his wrong side, don't you?
Yeah.
So he can cut in. Well, that's fascinating to me. I think I saw a little bit of him in the Euros playing as a 10, didn't he? I think Arna likes a 10. We don't know. The interesting thing, again, actually I'll go to you on this, Sean John, about how do we fit him in when we've got 6 good options, is we don't know for how long we've got 6 good options, and getting ahead of the play is obviously an intelligent thing to do. I hope Chiesa comes good, but we don't know if Chiesa will come good. I pray Mo Salah stays, but it's not 100%. Darwin Nunez, well, come on to Darwin in a minute. Feels where we stand at this point in time that the odds are on him not being in Liverpool past next summer. So there does seem to be the potential of room opening up in the front line, and Liverpool needs to keep it well stocked with quality.
Yeah, absolutely, and he is one of them. And listen, if the powers that be wanted to sort of sit here and you know, you could have a honest conversation of which obviously isn't going to happen, certainly not live on YouTube, and they were to say, listen, he's a really good footballer, but there's other good footballers out there, and we think there's others that are better suited to sort of what we need. I think that would be fair enough. I think it would be, you know, it isn't an area of the pitch, you know, specifically the left side where Liverpool are sort of lacking. It's probably one where we're particularly strong, and so I think that would be sort of fair enough. But you also can imagine a situation where they go, well, maybe, you know, if we look at it as a forward line generally, and we look at these players in particular as ones who can do different things, then they might look at it as not quite a unique opportunity, but a rare opportunity to get a really good player at a decent price who's sort of willing to move. And, you know, PSG might be tempting for him, but I just can't imagine that if Liverpool sort of came in, having liked him for a while, I don't think it'd be like the Caicedo thing where we just come in last minute and he's like, well, I've been talking to Chelsea for 6 months, you know what I mean? What he is playing at, almost kind of thing. I think he'll be aware that Liverpool have been interested for a long time, so it's not just us, you know, coming out the woodwork at the last minute and going, oh yeah, do you know what, do you sort of fancy coming here? We moved too late on Caicedo for this. It doesn't sort of feel like that for me. I think because the interest has been sort of known. I'm sure we've been, you know, speaking to his agents on and off, you know, every now and again, checking in, how's the lad doing and stuff like that. And so I feel like they'll be aware that the interest sort of is long term. So you'd hope that they could do something, but like you say, Rob, you know, it doesn't take long before you know, you're really well stocked in an area to suddenly look like, you know, it only takes Mo Salah going, right, I'm off. Yeah. I'm definitely going in the summer. And then nothing would completely make you feel wonderful about that, because we love watching him play. But the idea that, you know, you've signed, you know, this great player in the January, you know, would help sort of cushion the blow.
Yeah, just stay with that. I mean, something we've discussed on the Gutter Show, and I think we've all thought for a while, is, okay, we may keep Mo next year, but the point will come sooner rather than later where Mo Salah cannot be our best player can be our best player anymore, and not because of where Mo wants to play, just because it's not fair to ask someone who's maybe by the time he's 36 to be a team that wants to win everything's best player. Liverpool need a succession plan, a new best attacking player. I think we've often said we can't expect it to literally come on the right wing. Why should it? Or centre forward. There's no reason why. And maybe putting too much expectation. Do you think there's a possibility Liverpool sort of earmark him as the kind of superstar level attacker that goes, this could be our Salah succession plan in a roundabout way?
Yeah, 100%. And I think we obviously do have to plan for life without Mo Salah, because, you know, we all hope he signs a new contract, but at some point he's going to leave, and probably for nothing, because, you know, that'll be the situation that we'll sort of end up in. You know, he's not going to. I can't see a scenario where he signs a 3-year deal and then we try and sell him in one. Like, I can't see that. If he signs for another 2 years, whatever it is, like he's playing for Liverpool for that longer, then it's up to him or whoever to convince that it's going to be sort of any longer. So he's going to leave for free at some point. So we need to start thinking about either a life post Mo Salah, or, like you say, a life where, you know, he is still here, but he's not necessarily, you know, hitting the sort of same heights as what we do. And these are why these contract situations for the older players sort of are slightly complicated, because you're almost having to do both, really. You say, well, you know, how much can we get out of him? How long is he staying for? What do we sort of pay him? million, but what does life look like without him? But you'd rather do it with someone like him than the other guy who's been linked, who, you know, I don't know if we're going to come on to today or you're going to do it on the award-winning Gutter for subscribers tomorrow, but a guy who scored 8 goals in the second league in Germany, you know, isn't, with the best will in the world, likely to be ready for a while at least.
Oh, Marmouche, do you mean?
No, the guy.
The kid.
Yeah, the kid. Yeah,
Simas,
he's playing second league. And
Simas.
That's him. Yeah,
Nuremberg. We'll talk about him on the Gutter tomorrow.
He's on loan, and the person who owns him is going to get him back and then immediately sell him. They're going to flip him.
That's right.
And so, yeah, he looks. Listen, I'm sure he's a decent player because he's, you know, but at the end of the day, it's not fair for him to come in, you know, and be sort of a main forward signing in the summer. And so you need someone who is, you know, ready and able to sort of take up that mantle, and he's certainly one. But maybe he's not the only one. Listen, I'm not going to go mad if we don't sign him. I'm just going to think it's a bit of a curious one.
Okay, last thing on Kvaratskhelia before we go to our sponsors and a message from our John. I'm not putting money on Kvaratskhelia signing this window, but I'm still going to believe it's possible until he's paraded in Paris under the Arc de Triomphe, right? If by some small miracle he does become a Red this month, what does that do to Liverpool's title challenge? And that's not a facetious question, because you go, yay, we've got Maradona to help us win the league. What do you think it does? Because history is littered with case studies of good teams being disrupted by supposedly great mid-season signings. But I don't know, how do you think things would go?
I think it's obviously hard to say, isn't it? But Liverpool have given themselves a lot of leeway in this title race so far. Is the first sort of thing I'd mention. It would be, you know, it would take something spectacular really for Liverpool to fail from here at the sort of points per game rate that everybody is going at.
Tempting fate here, like
no, absolutely not. I will touch all the wood and be superstitious as anybody. But I think it would take a lot for Liverpool to fail now. So the idea of bringing somebody in who can score more goals, get more assists, play anywhere across that front three, as I said before, and also just allow you for a bit more positional versatility. I think one of the things that Slot has struggled with so far this season is the sort of lack of you know, fit and sharp options in that number 10 position. There's obviously been, you know, injury issues around Curtis Jones, been injury and illness issues around Szoboszlai in more recent times. Harvey Elliott's been coming back to sharpness. Chiesa has been a bit of a, you know, in a bit of a no man's land, injury, illness and sharpness wise up until the game at the weekend. So I think the idea of bringing in somebody else who can play that role, somebody else who can edge people like Jota more minutes in that role is no bad thing, and it'll be a balance for Slot to strike. And I'd be interested to see, you know, obviously hoping that it wouldn't be, but I'd be interested to see if it did have a sort of negative impact on squad morale in terms of where you get those minutes from and where people find the game time. But ultimately I think what you've got now, it goes back to the idea of the sort of no bell ends policy under Jurgen Klopp really, is you've got a good group of lads who are all, you know, I feel like it feels like they've all got the common goal of, we want to win this league title for Liverpool, we want to know what that's like to do that in front of a full stadium at Anfield, and everybody is really bought into that. So even if there aren't minutes for people come February time, they know that they can't leave until the summer anyway, so you can all sort of get behind that common goal.
Yeah, my thoughts are that if you bring in a player with that kind of reputation when you're already in the ascendancy, that it's a demoralising thing for your rivals. But more on that in the award-winning Gutter tomorrow, so you might need to subscribe quickly if you want to get onto that. John, a quick word from our sponsors at NordVPN.
Yeah, shout out to NordVPN who are partnered with us to the end of the season. We really appreciate that, and there's loads of benefits to the service. It's added security when you're logging on to public Wi-Fi's and things like that, but I know the main reason that a lot of you use it is this ability to change your virtual location with just a click of a button, so no matter where you are, you can enjoy streaming services, subscription services from all around the world. So a lot of people, especially the Facebook subscribers, are always saying, I'm in the maddest place you've ever thought of, with any bars to sort of watch the football. Now, watching football in a bar abroad is quite fun, but if you are in, and we've had some crazy ones recently, I don't know if you've noticed, people say absolutely not. I think sometimes people are just bragging where they are on holiday, to be honest with you. But don't forget, with someone like NordVPN, you can make sure that you can, the subscription that you pay for at home, you can enjoy that wherever you are in the world. So you change lounge when you board your virtual location to the UK, and then you can enjoy, if you pay for Sky Sports or wherever, it's really easy to access your subscription from there. So a great way to watch things like football, but also if there's certain games coming up, I think there is one on Saturday that is taking place in this country but not available to watch in this country. Well, if you've got an active subscription for something abroad, then you can change your virtual location from here to that country and enjoy that streaming service as well. So that might be something that could be very handy this Saturday as well. So NordVPN, they've got a fantastic offer for you guys. If you go to nordvpn.com/TAW, you can subscribe there. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. They are that confident that you will enjoy the service, and you can use it. I think it's on up to 10 devices now as well. Might be even 12. Who knows? A lot of devices. I think it's 10. We'll go with that. Back to you, Rob.
Okay. I think we'll segue from the stunning signing of Kvaratskhelia, potential stunning signing of Kvaratskhelia, to who would be predominantly left-sided despite the two-footedness and the number 10-iness. I would say, John, to the right side is something we do have to think about quite specifically, regardless of whether our star player will emerge there in a post-Mo Salah era or not. There's been a rumour which has interested me in the last 24, 48 hours, and it's come out of Middlesbrough, the Northern Echo in Middlesbrough. They're saying that Liverpool are considering using Ben Doak as a tempter to Bournemouth to make them sell us Antoine Semenyo. Now, we've been linked to Semenyo for some time. He's right-sided. He's really, really good. He's 25 now. Intrigued me that the story came out of Middlesbrough, but then again, Ben Doak plays there. So maybe Ben Doak in a bar chatted his mouth off too much and given away that we're in for Semenyo. I don't know. I mean, there's been some sort of briefings that Bournemouth would not under any circumstances let the player go this January, and I don't think that would bother Liverpool. But looking ahead to the summer, can you see a Semenyo move and Doak the other direction?
Yes, to both. I think I really like the player. I imagine they like the player as well. Bournemouth have been excellent this season, and there's a reason for that. I think they've got a good manager and a good setup, but I think the reason that they're playing so well and have got so many points, and I think actually they're playing even better than the points that they've got. I think they've been unlucky in a couple of games. Is the fact that they've got good players. There's no sort of secrets about it, and so I think the centre-half they brought in the summer is excellent. Obviously there's the left-back that we've been linked with as well, but Semenyo up top I think is a great footballer, and I think he will move on to bigger and better things, whether that's sort of Liverpool or elsewhere. So I would imagine they are looking at him. I'm quite into the fact that it came out of Middlesbrough, and that I think that's often how things leak, because I think if there's any chance of this happening, they would need to speak to Middlesbrough about it, because the agreement's there, it's there for the summer. So I think, if they wanted to break that off, or there was even a possibility, you would have to have those conversations, and you can certainly see how that would then get out. Do you know what I mean? Like, Middlesbrough have got no skin in the game after, so they said Liverpool are on to us saying they might need Ben Doak back. Do you know what I mean? And then suddenly it's sort of out there. So I actually think that adds to the plausibility of it, really. With that sort of coming out, it doesn't feel to me that they see Ben Doak as a long-term thing. He feels a little bit like your Harry Wilson's of this world, where he's going out on loan to show the world how good he is, and then Liverpool get a higher fee than they would. It feels more like that to me, and the manager's obviously got really high standards in what he terms as a Liverpool player. He's not been shy about moving younger players on who we quite enjoyed. Bobby Clark's of this world. We thought were decent players. If he thinks that he's not really going to use them, and we can get a good fee. And so I think Ben Doak will go. I think if he can go to Bournemouth and we get a really good player as part of it, then it feels like everyone's a winner, because it'd be a good move for him as well.
Yeah, the Ben Doak question is a fascinating one, Josh. I think it's frustrating for one for us as fans. John referenced Bobby Clark. I think we all came out of last season going, whoa, Bobby Clark, one for the future. A couple of great cameos, played in that so well in the League Cup final, scored a goal. And then like that, the club have gone, 12 million, cheers. Helps towards PSR, helps fund the next transfer. And City have been, and maybe Chelsea, but City have been doing this for years, letting some real talent go. I mean, regretted it in certain cases like Cole Palmer, but Lavia's gone. God, there's so many of those. I'm not even.
Liam Delap, yeah.
Liam Delap this season. Do you think we're on a bit of a cusp with our own academy players, that we're going to have to just grow up and understand that the club are mainly using the academy not to show us the next Trent Alexander or the next Curtis Jones, but quite frankly to showcase the funding of the bigger transfers?
I think again it will just be a balance. I think that the PSR thing has obviously introduced like an interesting angle into it, in that the lads you do sell through the academy are pure profit. I don't know if Bobby Clark would have qualified for that based on when we signed him from Newcastle, was it? But you know, players like him who
15, 16.
Yeah,
but it's still, even if you don't look at it from a PSR point of view, it's still a lad coming in for what, 500 grand and going for 12.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's pure cash point of view.
It's almost like a flip on a house, isn't it? Like you
go
in
as success. I mean, we spend a little bit of time at the academy. Josh, we've not been for a while, but when you speak to them, they're quite open about what they see success as producing footballers.
Yeah, it's production line ultimately, isn't it?
Yeah. They tell themselves, I mean, I've been to the academy with you in the distant past, John. They tell themselves, if we can help young men earn a good living at the top end of football, what a success we've made of it, what a success they've made of it.
Yeah.
As fans, we're kind of not interested in their names unless they're playing for, they're going to put a red shirt on their back at some point.
But this is the thing, like a lot of that comes down to opportunity, and I think you've seen that with a couple of the lads who are in and around the first team now. For Kwanzaa, it was opportunity, wasn't it, because of injuries at centre half, but then he also took that leap at Liverpool. I think it can entirely depend really on whether you're ready to take that leap at Liverpool and whether the opportunities are there for you, or whether you do need a couple of loans, whether you're being perceived as a bit raw. That was definitely the vibe I got from Jurgen Klopp around Ben Doak last season, was that he just didn't feel like he could play as part of a properly serious football team yet. And that's not to disrespect Middlesbrough in any way. I more just mean someone who's competing at the top end of the Premier League and for all kinds of honours. He didn't see Ben Doak as being a valuable squad player within that, and felt like he needed to go somewhere else to get that education. So maybe there is just still a feeling at the club that Doak is a little bit far away from that. Like he couldn't just come back into the fold now and take the leap immediately. Like if John mentioned before, if we are sort of succession planning for Mo Salah, that Doak is not going to be the next cab off the rank to back up Mo Salah. We're going to need someone to sort of at least fill the gap in between there, if not step in ahead of him. So maybe Semenyo can be that person, and then Doak makes the perfect make weight in that. I'm definitely more intrigued by the idea of swap deals in general, because I feel like the FFP diddlers down the years have been doing a lot of that sort of thing, haven't they? The PSR diddlers in more recent times. I think Newcastle were up to it in the summer, weren't they? So I'm interested in Liverpool getting involved in a couple more of those things. Just purely because I'd like to see Liverpool push the rules a little bit more, and if there are loopholes in the rules, then Liverpool sort of throw the weight around with that a little bit more. Because while it's all well and good being the sort of the ones who are self-sustainable and all these kinds of things, like we do want to see new players arriving, don't we? And if it requires Liverpool just bending the rule a little bit and not necessarily completely breaking them in the way some other clubs have, then I'd be all for that.
Well, it's not breaking the rule, to be clear, because it's being cute.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, finding a loophole. Yeah.
I mean, if you did a straight swap, Semenyo for Doak, hypothetically, and you called it 30 million a pop, that gives Liverpool crudely speaking, 150 million headroom in the transfer market because of amortisation over the length of a contract.
Yep.
Wow, rough numbers. Okay, John. I mean, wind up with just a final bit of. I'm going to ask you to speculate on the potential timing of a potential Antoine Semenyo signing, because, as you said when I first asked you, it's interesting. It came out of Middlesbrough. If this was a question of a summer move, summer's a world away from Middlesbrough. Yeah. They're interested in the here and now, because there's been plenty of speculation about Ben Doak being recalled to be sold this window. Yeah. I think Ipswich are known to have potentially put a bid in. I think Crystal Palace might have been linked as well, if memory serves. There's been a lot of talk about Ben Doak being wrenched away from Middlesbrough, and they'd be sad to see that happen. Now, if there's a link between Semenyo and Bournemouth, and there's a link between Bournemouth and Doak, it does sound to me as though there are moves afoot for this January more than the summer, despite what Bournemouth might like to say.
Yeah, and I think it's probably all linked to the Darwin Nunez story that came out last night, that there's been a big bid for him.
Or Chiesa's stories to Napoli.
Chiesa's story. So I think what they're exploring is, I don't think they'll want to let one go and not bring one in. People couldn't say like, oh, you can't say no to £70 million for Nunez, or whatever it might be. And I get that. It would be an amount of money that I don't think many people would necessarily expect us to go for him. And that's just an opening bid. So who knows? They might end up sort of, making a profit from him. But they'll be looking at it and looking at, well, there's league games, there's Champions League games, and what if we sort of need them? And so it wouldn't surprise me if what you're seeing right now, Rob, is that they're going, well, hang on, if if we got this money, like who could be spending on? Like, is there availability there? I think they did that with Salah a couple of years ago when the Saudi massive bids came in, and I think part of the problem was they quickly realised there's not enough time to replace him. So whether he wants to go sort of or not, whether it's 50 million or 200 million, do you know what I mean? Like, money in the bank's no use, you know, if there's things to win. Yeah, if a season was petering out or whatever, and they thought, we'll get top four, but we're probably not going to win it. You know, they might do, but I think you do need the players. You can't just take someone off the manager and go, oh yeah, but we're still hopeful of winning the Champions League. You know, he has played Darwin Nunez. He plays 90 on Saturday, albeit in an FA Cup game, and so he has started in the season. He sort of used him off the bench, and so I don't think they take an asset away during the season without replacing him. And so I think what you're possibly seeing now is that they're exploring, well, okay, well, if we got £80 million for Darwin Nunez, you know, who is possible? Is Semenyo available? Is that someone we can sort of get in? You know, yeah, he's not the exact same type of player, but like we've all discussed, you know, a lot of these forwards are versatile, maybe not even specifically the ones you buy in, but more the sort of ones you've got. And so I think that's maybe what we're seeing at the moment, the looking around and going, okay, well, if we can cash in on one of these players who we don't think has a long-term future at Liverpool, who is in there, who can, you know, make us even better and make us more likely to win the league this season.
Okay, fascinating. We're going to wrap it here. Much more of that tomorrow if you're a subscriber to Tour Player. If you're not, you should get subscribing. We're going to deep dive more on Nunez, talk more Kvaratskhelia. There's links to a kid called, as we've referenced, Simas from Nuremberg. So much more of that to come. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this taste of the gutter. Thank you, John. Thank you, Josh, and thank you to the good people at NordVPN.
Bring your digital life to a whole new level with NordVPN. Choose the fastest VPN on the planet and explore the internet without interruption. Bring your digital